nasty, or thinking of something greedy, something like that. In the age of Kali, one isn't held responsible unless you act on that something. The statement here is, if you think of something good, it acts. That's nice, huh? I think I should chant my rounds. You get benefit. Oh, I just have to think about chanting my rounds. And no, it's not that you get full benefit, but there's benefit. If people just think favorably, oh, Krishna's nice, and you just go on, there's benefit. What to speak of if they do something to serve Krishna. So he knew that. He knew that it was the age of Kali. Kali's around, but my duty as king, since he surrendered to me, I was going to kill him, but since he surrendered to me, I have to allow him to live. And after all, it is his age. But I'm going to promote in my kingdom the activities that are beneficial. And when those activities that are when the hearing and chanting is abundant, Kali can't exert his influence. Nice point. Maharaj Parikshit considered that less intelligent men might find the personality of Kali to be very powerful, but that those who are self-controlled would have nothing to fear. So there's two categories of people, the self-controlled and the uncontrolled. And common people are uncontrolled. So as the king, he had some responsibility to give protection and shelter to those that are common people. And the way for the common people is to have the fearless people, or the devotees of the Lord, engaged in congregational chanting for the benefit of the people in general. Or other types of religious activity or devotional activity that common people can just come along and take part in. The king was powerful like a tiger and took care for the foolish, careless persons. And then he summarizes, saying, O sages, as you did ask me, now I have described almost everything in summary fashion regarding the narrations about Lord Krishna in connection with the history of the pious Maharaj Parikshit. Those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all topics that are connected with the transcendental activities and qualities of the personality of Godhead who acts wonderfully. He's appreciating their questions. And while their interest, the sages of Naimisharanya, they were interested in the benefit of persons all over the world, that persons all over the world would be less influenced by Kali. So they had planned this yajna. He's saying that just by your hearing these messages, that's being accomplished. And more, as we're going to hear in just a moment. So then the sages, that's Sutta speaking, it's 11 verses. Then the sages reply, O Sutta Goswami, may you live many years and have eternal fame, for you are speaking very nicely about the activities of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. This is just like nectar for mortal beings like us. Now, mortal beings, we say, and we serve lemonade, we call it nectar. But there's the nectar of the gods, and then there's eternal nectar, like the nectar of devotion. Rasa, amrita. Bhakti rasa, amrita. And the topics about Maharaj Parikshit and the Pandavas in relation to Krishna, that's that bhakti rasa, amrita. And so we were asking you how to diminish the influence of the stage, but what you've done is you've taken us completely out of this world. They say, we have just begun the performance of this fruitive activity. They were planning a yajna, a 1,000-year yajna, a karmakanda yajna. And to have the karmakanda yajna, they had their fires. And they weren't getting anything from the fires, except smoke. And their faces were, they say, our bodies have become black from the smoke. That's the only benefit we were getting. No benefit, in other words. We were hoping through, because karmakanda yajnas have basically one of two purposes. One is getting something temporary, knowledge, health, wife, business success, prosperity, something, material benediction in this world. Or, option two is something after this life in the heavenly realm, an upgrade into another situation. So worldly or heavenly. But for those to be effective, even for worldly and heavenly, there have to be qualified brahmanas that can perform those yajnas. And in this age of Kali, there aren't the qualified brahmanas to perform the yajnas. Even the sages were acknowledging themselves. This is just after the beginning of the age of Kali. We are not getting anything out of this. While we were wanting something material, that is, diminishing the influence of the age of Kali and bringing in piety in this age of Kali, it wasn't happening. But now that you've come to this yajna arena, we're getting something far more. That, but something far more. So there's to keep it short, Prabhupada's understanding or explanation that if you have $1 million, you have your $10 and $100 problem solved. But we wanted our $10, $100 problem solved, and you've given us $1 million. You've given us more than $1 million. You've given us spiritual, awakened state of consciousness. We are factually pleased by the nectar of the lotus feet of the personality Godhead Govinda, which you are distributing. The value of a moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter. You've come to give the topics of Krishna, and because you're giving the topics of Krishna, we can't even compare what you're giving to the things that we were wanting. We wanted something of this world and perhaps of the next world, but what you're giving can't even, the Prabhupada explains, where there's points of similarity you can make some comparison. If there's no point of similarity, you can't make a comparison. No point of similarity, it's just of another dimension altogether. It's an important understanding when it's one of the offenses against the holy name is to consider the chanting of the holy name to be one of the ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas, known as fruitive activities or karmakanda. So the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, or Bhagavad Saptaha as it's popularly done in the world, is valued, unfortunately, as something that will bring good fortune to a family that sponsors a Bhagavad Saptaha, or if you go and attend it. You'll get a feel-good experience and you'll get some piety. And with that piety, it'll increase your prosperity. There's a material incentive. A pious, but material incentive. What Bhagavatam is saying is it's completely wrong to make such a comparison. Or to say it in a positive way, the proper audience needs to get the full benefit of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam needs to have a spiritual conception of what the messages of the Bhagavatam are, and needs to have no motivation in receiving that message of the Bhagavatam. And the speaker needs to not be deploying the message of the Bhagavatam to maintain themselves economically, or to bring some kind of reputation and fame and notoriety and prestige. Oh, he's such a good reciter. And when he recites, he sings too, and it's so nice. Let's go to the Saptaha. So that if there's a material motive on either side, then the transcendental knowledge will not be passed on. That's the Bhagavatam is giving us the positive and the beware sides of transcendental knowledge. The personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, Govinda, is the exclusive shelter for all great living beings, and his transcendental attributes cannot even be measured by such masters of mystic powers as Lord Shiva and Brahma. Can anyone who is expert in relishing rasa ever be satisfied, satiated by hearing topics about him? So Suttas said, you've asked some questions, I've pretty much answered your questions. So they're saying, don't stop. We're never satiated. These are topics about Krishna, which the nature of the topics about Krishna is they're endless, and one never reaches the point of satiation. Rather, just hearing further and hearing further, it increases the rasa, increases the taste. And when one has a taste, one wants to hear more. Please go on. Shonaka is really good. He knows how to milk the cow. How to have Sutta continue to deliver nectar. And he's good because he's tasting the nectar.